Assalamu alaikum. In this lesson we are going to talk about the letter Ha. Now Ha changes its shape when it's by itself in most scripts, or when it comes at the beginning, or when it comes in the middle of a word, or in some scripts it would look something like this. So the same thing happens with Kufi. So today we are going to learn several shapes of it. When it comes by itself, it would look something like what we've learned in the Fa, Qaf and the Waw. So it would look something like this. With the addition of decoratives, we will add a vertical part of it. That could end up right here, or it could go up the whole height of an alif. Now, at the beginning of a word, which also works as at the middle of a word. Some shapes, it has lots of shapes to it, but we will look into the one that depends on a triangle that is 60 degrees everywhere. So this triangle, we first draw it, then we add the rest of the shapes to it. Some of them look like this, with a decorative move down here, and this will continue. Sometimes they change into what is not looks like a ya, which will help us with the ya, and this one would go up over here. So basically the shapes depend on the position of the letter Ha. We will start with the first one, the easiest one. When a Ha comes by itself, it is similar to the shape of the head of a Fa, a Qaf and a Waw. Now, as previous, we choose our baseline. Let's take 16 millimeters to be our thickness. Now, as usual, we would determine the heights from the baseline here. So this would be our 16, and we choose that height. Now, just like the previous letters, what will happen here is this. So we've got our 16 millimeters thickness right over here. This would be the start of the letter. To the left, we are going to move the full thickness T, 16. Then we are going to move T over 2. Then the full thickness T. When we close this, we will have this shape. Again, we go upward T over 2, and we add a quarter of a circle. Now, above this quarter of the circle, we move the full thickness T, and we determine this point. Now we got the second part of the letter. We connect this one to this one, just like this, and there you have it. This has been explained a lot previously. Now you continue this part to a certain level, depending on the taste and on the shape, the whole script that we've got here. Now this is singular. If you want it to come at the end of a word, you just continue it from this side. Let's do it using the scale paper. As we said, we've got the full thickness up here. We move from the beginning point, from the starting point to the left. Again, the full thickness, 16 millimeters. After that, we take 8 millimeters right over here. Then we take another 16 millimeters to determine the end of the point. So here we have it. This lower part is the part that we've talked about just a second ago. In the middle, we take the half thickness upward, stops right here, and we connect these 2 points with a compass. with a quarter of a circle. Now from this point we move again the 1.5 the thickness upward, which will end up right over here. Now this will show us the end line for the starting point. This whole area will be colored. With this point and this point are again joined with a compass, which should be made with a compass because you don't want to sort of destroy it. Now this would be your center point, the same point you've drawn the inside of a hat. We add this part and there you have it. We've got this small hat right over here. Now the upper part you should continue depending on the let's say the nice shapes that you've got in the script itself. Now at the end of the, let's say that I'm going to take it upward twice the thickness, 2 times the thickness, which would be 24. So 2.4 centimeters will be around here. Now this height, I am going to add a decorative move similar to what we've always done. Starting from this point, we take half a thickness to the left, which will be 8, and we connect it to this point right here. Again, from this height that we've chosen, we move the full thickness 16 millimeters, which will end up here, and we connect these two together, so we've got this nice shape to it. Now when we outline it, we will see how the whole thing looks like. It's quite obvious in the video, but to show you the full shape of it, I'm going to fill it and we will see it in colors. Now this is a singular hat. It comes at the end of a word. It doesn't come at the beginning, because if it came at the beginning it will look like a meme. So if it was at the end, all what you have to do is color the side of it, and there you have it. Now for the second type of a hat, we are going to make it smaller in order to fit inside the paper that we've chosen here. Now for this one, the procedure is the following. We've got our baseline here. We've taken the thickness of the script itself. This would be our starting point, the lower point. We start from here and we create a line with this angle, 60 degrees. Now there's another point on the other side of it that will give us another line to work with. These two lines we are going to determine depending on a gap in the middle. So we've got our first line, this one, and we've got our thickness right over here. Now from this line we are going to take the full thickness T and draw another line. This line will intersect with the baseline in this point. From this point we are going to take, this is important, we are going to take 3/4 of a T. Therefore, if we got T to be 8 millimeters, 3/4 of that would equal 6 millimeters. This would be the width of the inner triangle that will close like this. From this triangle, from this side, we are going to take the other line, because we can achieve the full thickness T right over here, as we did here. Therefore, we've achieved this triangle, 60 degrees everywhere, with a nice small triangulation to it. Now from this side of the triangle we're going to take an arc. This dimension would be 3/8t, which will almost equal 3 millimeters. You point out the 3 millimeters and you connect this point to this point, passing through the 3 millimeters mark. Again, from this line you are going to take the full thickness right over here, and we are going to go around just with the same arc as this one, and it will intersect somewhere here. It will not intersect with the triangle, it will intersect above it. And we continue this down over here, which will intersect with this point. So we've got, I'm going to color it, we've got this, it's not working. We've got this shape, the full triangle, along with the thickness down here, and we have a part of a circle that goes around like this, as you can see. Now this could be by itself, or as we said, connected from the right and from the left. And we are going to add a small decorative move here, which will also have another one, if you'd like to add above right here like we did for the previous hut. Now the same thing goes down here. We can add another decorative move that would look like this to make it look nicer. Let's start on and work on this one and see how it would look like. As we said, we've got our baseline. Now we're going to use a triangle like this one that has a 60-degree to it. So let's take this to be our baseline. 8 millimeters would be this side. So this is the full thickness. Starting from this point, we're going to take the 60-degree that we've talked about. Here we are. Here we go. We connect this 8 millimeters baseline, just like this. We take perpendicular to this line an 8 millimeters point, the full thickness. We've got one here, another one down here, and we connect these two together, just like this. We see this intersection point. We've calculated that this one should be 3/4t. So this one will be 6 millimeters, as we've seen. Yeah, it's right over here. When you connect this to the 60 millimeters to the right, you'll get the smaller triangle inside of it, this one. Taking this outside with an 8 millimeters thickness, we'll get right over here. Let's take another point just to make it more accurate. Right over here. You connect these two together, and there you have it. Now you can't check this with the 60 millimeter, with the 60 degrees angle, just to make sure that it's perfect. Yeah, it's good. We've got a small margin here. Now, as we said, now we've got this triangle right here. From this point, between this point and this point, we are going to raise 3 millimeters, which is, as we discussed, would be 3/8t. If you have different thicknesses, you have to multiply and find the correct amount of millimeters to work around. So here we got the 3mm. Connect these two together with a compass. If you have a compass, you can use it right over here for center points, because these two should intersect. So if you put it on this point right over here, you'll be able to connect these two passing through the midpoint that we've chosen, just like this. Using the same point, let's take this intersection, go all the way around and stop here. As you can see, this second part intersects with this point, does not intersect with this point. If we were to measure this, it will be, as we can see, 8mm. From this arc to this arc is 8mm, all around the arc itself. Now, right here, we have a line that is the tangent of this circle goes just like this outer circle. So if we chose this tangent and we raised half a thickness upward, right over here, connecting it to this one, we will have a nice decorative shape to it. This pinhead right up here. You could stop at this one, or if you want to, from this intersection, you would take another 4mm upward, right over here. From this line, you would take another 4mm to this side, from the intersection point that we've just determined, right over here. And you connect this point to this one. Then you would take 8mm with this line, the full thickness, and you connect this one to this one. So you've got several shapes to it. Decorative here, decorative move here. Now, the maximum drop, we've always talked about this one, it will be 12mm or to 1.5 the thickness. In our case, it will be 12. So this would be the point. Let's find it just like this. We are going to take this point, this intersection, the outer edge, and take 45 degrees from here, as we can see, and connect this line to this line. There you have it. Now this point, you connect the other point to it, and this is the shape to it. Let's blacken it up and see how it would look. This is the simplest shape of this decorative move. As we said, if you want to, you can add decoration here that will connect. If it was connected from the right, you would connect it like this one. If it was connected to the left, you would connect it right from here. And you can add the small decoration that we've added below it. So this is another shape of the hat. The last shape that we are going to talk about, or the other shape, would depend on the same concepts. We've got triangle, and from that triangle we are going to create the full shape. Again, we are going to use the 8mm thickness. For this one, first we are going to determine the triangle in a similar way that we've done for the previous one, this one, but we're going to change a couple of ideas, a couple of things about it. So here we have the line, we've got our 60 degrees, we've got our full thickness right over here. Let me just take this down a bit. This full thickness, this 60 degrees that we've got here, and we've taken the full thickness to the left. Now this shape, we have to determine a huge box that will govern one of the shapes that we've got here. As we can see, we've got the full thickness T. It's easy to determine. This is 60 degrees. We move again another half T, T over 2, and then another T. So we've got this shape. Now, the second line right over here, we are going to take the half the thickness, just like this one, and draw the other side of the triangle, this side, which will continue all the way up. Now this point will intersect, if we took a straight line, will intersect with a point right over here, which will be a decorative move that looks like this, then goes back. So this is the point, if we took a line. This will help us determine the decorative move here and all the intersections that we are going to have upward here. Taking this line, we go outward the full thickness, we continue it, we rotate it like this with the full thickness, given that this would be 4 times the thickness. So this shape will end up looking like this. This is the start, going upward, then the highest point of it, right over here, they will turn around, will go back, then you will have this part that will go upward, and here we've got the full thickness down here. This will turn all the way around to this point. There you have it. It works as a part at the beginning or at the middle. Let's go ahead and draw it. We're going to drag our baseline down here because we need to raise it way high to the maximum height of an aleph, which was 12 times the thickness, 9.4 centimeters. We take our 8mm line right here. We choose our starting point. Again, we take our 60 degrees line, this line. We take 8mm from this line. We connect these two. If you want to make it more precise, take a third point. We go ahead and take 4mm, half a thickness from the last line we've drawn. There you go. And again, we take a full thickness, 8mm, and we draw a line right over here. We've got 4 lines parallel to each other. Right here, we've got the intersection. We take half the thickness, which is 4, and we connect this with another 60-degree line, just like that. Taking the full thickness from this line, there you have it. Now take this intersection point and go all the way up. It will intersect with this line too. Go perpendicular. You've got intersection here and here. This point, you will have the shape, the decoration shape that we've mentioned. We need to explain this one. So now we've reached to this point. We've got these lines going this way, and the other line that intersects them that goes this way. So we took the intersection and went all the way up. The intersection here will have this shape to it. There will be a point. This will be t/2. We are going downwards until it reaches to the full thickness here. Then we are going to rotate just like we did in the normal hat, and this one will rotate. This one is also t/2 by t/2. So you will have this a nice decorative shape that we will actually also use in the letter Ya. So I've got my intersection point right here. I will move on this line 4 millimeters downwards, right over here. Find the intersection with the with this line. It will intersect right over here. So this point will go down to here. Then we are going to take the 8 millimeters thickness along this line to determine the inner edge of the gap, just right over here. Another 4 millimeters from this one. There you have it. Now all what you have to do is connect these two together, because this is 4 millimeters by 4 millimeters. The same thing goes for the last point. That will be perpendicular to all these lines. This point will connect to this point. Now, taking this part of the hat, we go upward all the way with the 9.4 centimeters, the maximum height of an alif. Right here, let's close this one. And this shape will go around this and stops here, then rotates back. Now the end will be 2.5t. At the end that we were talking about, that will look something like this. So this is the maximum height. We've got our line coming from this way. It touches the upper edge, then it rotates, then comes back. Now the maximum drop here would be 2.5t. When it stops here, it gradually changes. So right here we've got T, we've got T here. This will have to touch the edge. Then it starts to decrease in size. This point and this point, they've got a distance of 4t between them, and this is the shape that we've got. So you go up gradually, you start rotating until you reach this point. You determine the drop. The 2.5 multiplied by 8 would be 20, which means 2 centimeters. Right here, you mark this line. So the first shape will stop here. The second one will follow with a thickness of 8 millimeters. As we can see, between this point to the left, you've got 4 times the thickness, which will 32 millimeters. So 3.2 centimeters, that will end up here. Now you've got your line, you can connect this one to the upper one, you go around, you rotate, then come back, and the other one would follow, and you'll have this shape to it. No, this one is right up. Let's color this one. It comes at the beginning of a word or at the middle to be connected from the right and from the left. as we can see here. So there we go. We've got a ha by itself, or connected from the right, or at the end of a word. We've got another ha that comes by itself in the middle or at the beginning, and again we've got a ha at the beginning or in the middle. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you in the next one.